going on, everyone? It's Matt, aka Thanatos, and today I'm doing a video on a product I recently came by called Coin Armor. It was recommended to me by a friend. I had been doing tons of research on ways to protect my comic books from UV rays, specifically my slabs. As you can tell, I live in an apartment, and although Colorado does have a lot of homes with basements, I am not quite ready to where I want to, whether I know I want to buy a home or not. So for now, this apartment is my home. And because of that, I have windows everywhere. There's two windows there. There's a window behind the camera. There's a door right here that goes out to my balcony. So there's a lot of light coming in here. And I keep everything closed up, although I'm not allowed to foil my windows, which I totally would. It makes me fear for my comics, mostly because they're expensive, you know, and there are babies. And for the longest time, I kept my comics locked away in my safe. Living in Florida, there are no basements, so my safe was it. And I hated it. You know, you buy these comics, and obviously they're investments. They are long-term investments. They're comics that you want to keep in as pristine condition as you possibly can, so that way you grow old and you enjoy them, and then you die, and then your kids get them, and then they sell them for drug money, or I don't know, whatever your kids plan on doing with it. Maybe they'll keep them to remember you by, but you want them to be in as good condition as possible, right? So in my search for finding a bag or a film with UV protection, a friend of mine mentioned a product called Coin Armor, as seen here. So Coin Armor utilizes a technology called intercept, which I guess they don't really show on here, but and this intercept technology, here is a bag. I will be the very first person to tell you that these are not pretty. They are not the prettiest bags. I mean, you can't even see the back of the comic. However, this portion, this coppery portion, is the corrosion intercept material. And it is a reactive barrier. So where Mylar and all these other things are kind of passive barriers, intercept was designed to be a reactive barrier. So corrosive gases, funguses, bacteria hit this highly reactive copper particle polymer mix, or whatever they want to call it, and then it reacts and it kind of like neutralizes all of the corrosive gases and all that other crap. So where Mylar, which is what I have previously been keeping my comics in, you know, Mylar is beautiful, right? It's super crystal clear. It makes your comics look fantastic. It always has a really loud noise to it, but it's beautiful. However, even Mylar bags are just taped down, right? So you're not really preventing any gases from getting in here, any corrosive, whatever you want. It is a physical barrier, and it does not provide UV protection. So my comics sitting here, even if they're not getting direct sunlight all the time, over time I would assume that it would damage my comics. It would fade them. Obviously, CBCS and CGC slabs are not supposed to be airtight, right? Because you want those gases to release from the bacterias and all that are already on the comic. Because I mean, comics aren't. You know, we've all touched them. We've put our fingers on them. Graders have touched them. You want your comics to breathe. And the cool thing about Coin Armor is the fact that it's a sealed bag. So when you put your comic in, which I can show you right now. So you get your comic in, you're like, oh man, that's kind of not exactly the prettiest. So I like to push all the air out. And then I like to fold that guy over. Got some blue masking, blue painter's tape. And obviously you can tell the UV protection is there, right? It's kind of got a hazy look to it, which I don't mind. I get to still see the cover. It's definitely not nearly as crystal clear as Mylar. But knowing that my comics are protected makes me feel a little bit better. So now the bag is fully sealed, and any gases or corrosive particles, bacteria that was already inside the bag is now going to be neutralized because of the intercept corrosion technology, which is that copper matrix, highly reactive copper matrix. And the whole intention of this was originally the creator of Coin Armor was a coin collector, a currency collector. And he also, obviously currency doesn't just consist of coins, but coins also deal with corrosive materials, like oxidation. So to prevent rust, you want to prevent corrosion. Like corrosion, rust, oxidation, that whole process. So he created, or he used intercept technology, which was developed by Bell Labs. Lucent Technologies Bell Labs was the one who developed this intercept technology, which you can, if you Google intercept technology, it's everywhere. There are so many applications for it, and for someone to be like, I can use that to protect my investments, I thought was really cool. So when I found Coin Armor, obviously I'm not the biggest fan of the way it looks, but also, before I mention that, the protection against corrosion, the copper matrix has a life, like a shelf life or a life expectancy based on how thick the copper matrix is. So if it's 3 to 7 years per 0.025 millimeters of thickness. So the actual Intercept website states that a comic book bag, the CGC or slabbed bag, has a expected corrosion protection term of 5 years, which is not that long. I mean, you think that's like less than a poly bag. But for me, that's perfect because I don't plan on living in a direct sunlight environment or something for that long. So if you were looking for 5 years is still fairly long term. And these bags are $25 for 10 bags. So they roughly cost about $2.50. So I mean, as you want to display comics, you can just throw them in one of these bags and put them up and not be as concerned about damaging your comics over the course of that 5 years. So obviously you want to make sure you know how long your bags have been active in an environment or had something inside of them where they're constantly fighting corrosive gases and stuff, because the comic is going to continuously release that gas and all that. I don't know. I'm not that kind of scientist. Yeah, so the front, it's kind of weird. I'm not the biggest fan that they should have put coin intercept technology probably up here on the flap portion. Would have made more sense, so that way you're not looking at it in front of your comic. I currently have every single one of my comics up on display in a Coin Armor bag. So I wanted to test them out. I contacted Coin Armor and asked, like, hey, I just want to highlight your stuff. But I did pay for all of these bags myself. So I bought 20 of them for the roughly, I don't know, 15-ish books that I keep displayed at any given time. And then I have some extras. And I feel so much better. You know, I could have went and bought UV film, which would have protected it strictly from the UV rays, but it wouldn't also provide the extra protection that the Intercept technology provides. So as you can see here, you saw the Incredible Hulk 181 earlier, and how the Mylar really makes the colors pop. So it has a more dull look when presenting, and then you have the Coin Armor symbols down here. But when you put them up and from any distance, it doesn't, like, it bothered me at first, but knowing that my comics are safe, obviously these are huge investments, makes me feel so much better about them. So I know, I mean, you can look up, I'm going to put the links below for information strictly about these specific Coin Armor bags. You are more than welcome to look up Coin Armor technology. You are more than welcome to message me and be like, you got fed a bunch of bull crap. You know, if you know more than I do, by all means, message me. If I'm not giving the right information, then I would always like to be corrected. But for now, this has been the best option. Obviously, I can't show you long-term overtime results of how these perform. But for $25, I am not mad about the investment in paying for some Coin Armor bags, and seeing how they work, you know, at least until I can get into a home with a basement, so I don't have to hide my comics in my safe, because I do love looking at them legs, you know. So, oh, and obviously Supergirl here, she's so dreamy. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. These are made in the USA, and they are 9.5 inches by 13 3/4. Obviously, you can see that they're not like super tight, so there's plenty of space. They fit CGC, they fit CBCS. I would imagine they fit PGX or Halo, whatever grading company you want to use, EGS. And then, yeah, so, but these bags are specifically designed to hold encapsulated comic books. And they are labeled to protect from corrosion, like it's as a corrosion barrier, and that reactive neutralizer for all metals, fungus, bacterias, gases, anything that might potentially cause damage to your comic over time. But that's all I got for you, so check out the description. There will be a link below for Coin Armor. If you guys don't like them, I'm sorry. I warned you, I'm warning you now that they are not the prettiest, but they are definitely worth it in my book, because I only want the best for the comics. I'm not going to read it anymore. I can look at the cover perfectly fine. Obviously, like, that's the one thing that kind of bugs me, or not being able to see the back. But I'm not going to flip these around and look at them, so this is perfectly adequate for my needs. So as you can see, Coin Armor UV protected film. And that is my video. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you all next time. Bye!